Billionaire visiting New York for a business deal, until his ex appeared with his son. The crosswalk signal blinked, white hand, then the countdown. 15 seconds. Hillary tightened her grip on Finn's hand, not because he'd pull away, but because that's what you did when you crossed Amsterdam Avenue during afternoon rush. The kid was 4, chatty as hell, and currently explaining why his friend Matteo got sent to the reading corner during circle time. He wouldn't stop talking about dinosaurs, Finn said, his sneakers scuffing the pavement. One of his laces was untied. She'd fix it when they got home. Miss Garcia said we already did dinosaurs last week. Hillary wasn't really listening. She was doing that thing she always did, scanning the street, the cars, the people. Teacher brain never turned off. Even now, 3:47 on a Thursday, she was mentally running through tomorrow's lesson plan and whether she'd remembered to email Matteo's mom about the field trip permission slip. Her tote bag kept sliding down her shoulder. The strap was stretched out, had been for months. She should have replaced it by now, but good bags were expensive and rent was due next week, and Finn needed new sneakers because he was growing out of everything. Always growing. She'd measured him against the kitchen door frame last Sunday, another ½ inch since August. "Mom, are you listening?" "I'm listening." "Then what did I say?" She smiled, couldn't help it. "Something about dinosaurs." He groaned, full body. "You're not listening." "I'm listening now, tell me again." The air smelled like exhaust and those roasted nuts from the cart on the corner, the one that had been there since before Finn was born. October in the city. Not cold yet, but you could feel it coming. The leaves on the trees lining West 81st were starting to turn, though most of them were still holding on to green. She'd walked this same route every day for 3 years, knew every crack in the sidewalk, every storefront, every apartment building with its laundry hanging in the windows. They made it across. Finn kicked a bottle cap into the gutter. It skittered under a parked delivery truck. "Can we get a snack?" "We have snacks at home." "But I want the pretzels from the cart." "We have pretzels at home, not the good ones." She stopped walking, looked down at him. He had that expression, the one that meant he was about to negotiate. Kid was relentless, probably got that from her. "Finn." "What?" "We talked about this." "I know, but—" "No buts. We have food at home. I just went to the store Monday." He sighed. Dramatic, like she'd just told him Christmas was cancelled. A woman walking past smiled, one of those knowing parent smiles. Hillary didn't smile back. Behind them, a car door opened. She didn't turn around. People got out of cars all the time. The city was full of noise, engines idling, someone shouting in Spanish 2 blocks over, a siren wailing somewhere south of them. She adjusted the tote bag, digging into her shoulder. Inside, finger paintings that were still damp, a half-eaten granola bar she'd meant to finish at lunch, 3 library books Finn insisted he'd read but definitely hadn't, and a crumpled notice about parent-teacher conferences she needed to sign and return tomorrow. Her cardigan was twisted. She fixed it without stopping. One of the buttons was loose. She'd meant to sew it back on weeks ago. Finn tugged her hand. "Mum, look, not now, bud." But he kept staring. That thing kids did when they locked onto something. She followed his gaze. A man stood on the sidewalk near a black town car. Tall. 6'2" maybe. Suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Dark hair, some grey at the temples. He wasn't moving. Just standing there, staring at them like he'd seen a ghost. Her stomach dropped. She knew that face. Hadn't seen it in 4 years, but she knew it. The shape of his jaw. The way he stood, shoulders back like he was used to people waiting for him to speak. That small scar above his left eyebrow he'd gotten playing hockey in college. She'd traced it once, years ago, back when things were different, back when she thought different meant something. Stephen. Her breath caught, held. For a second, maybe 2, she couldn't move. Her feet had stopped working. The bag slipped off her shoulder. She caught it. Barely. Around them, the city kept moving. A bus hissed past. Someone's dog barked. A teenager on a skateboard nearly clipped a fire hydrant. None of it registered. All she could see was him. All she could feel was 4 years collapsing into this single moment on a sidewalk in the Upper West Side on a Thursday afternoon when all she'd wanted was to get home and make mac and cheese and maybe watch half an episode of something before she passed out on the couch. Then her body kicked in, survival mode. The same instinct that got her through late rent checks and stomach flu, and the first year when Finn wouldn't sleep more than 3 hours at a time. The same instinct that got her through finding out she was pregnant and alone, and 29 with student loans and a teacher's salary that barely covered groceries. She turned, kept walking. Finn stumbled to keep up. "Mom? We're fine." Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "Keep walking." She didn't look back, didn't need to. She could feel him watching. The weight of it pressed between her shoulder blades like a hand she didn't want there. Finn's hand felt small in hers. Too small. He was growing so fast and she kept trying to slow it down, to hold on to these moments before he got too big, too independent, too aware of all the things she'd protected him from. Like this. Like the fact that his father existed somewhere in the world and had chosen, every single day for 4 years, not to be here. Her apartment was 6 blocks away. She counted them, focused on the sidewalk cracks, the stroller some guy had left blocking half the path, the bodega on the corner where the owner always slipped Finn a lollipop, even though she'd told him 100 times not to. She kept her breathing steady, in through the nose, out through the mouth, the way her therapist had taught her back when she could still afford therapy. Finn was quiet now. He did that sometimes, picked up on her mood without needing an explanation. Smart kid. Too smart. She wondered sometimes what he understood, what he'd figured out on his own. He'd asked about his dad exactly twice, once when he was 3, after seeing his friend's father pick him up from preschool, once last month, out of nowhere, while they were eating breakfast. Both times she'd given him the same answer. "Your dad lives far away. He has important work. Maybe someday." She hated that answer. Hated how vague it was, how it promised something she couldn't guarantee. But what else could she say? "Your dad didn't want this. Your dad chose his career over us. Your dad looked at you once when you were 2 weeks old and decided that wasn't enough to make him stay." They hit their building, a 5-story walk-up with a brick facade that had seen better days, rust stains under the fire escape. Someone had graffitied the mailboxes again. The super kept painting over it, but it always came back. The front door stuck like it always did. She shoved it open with her hip, the same way she'd been doing since she moved in 3 years ago. The lock was broken, had been for months. She'd stopped mentioning it. Inside, the stairwell smelled like someone's cooking, garlic, maybe cumin. Mrs. Chen on the 2nd floor. The radiator was already hissing, even though it wasn't cold enough yet. The building could never get the temperature right. Too hot in October, freezing in January. The railing was loose. She'd mentioned it to the super twice. He kept saying he'd fix it. She didn't believe him anymore. By the time they reached the 3rd floor, Finn was panting. "Can you carry me?" "You're too big now." "No, I'm not." "You are, sorry, bud." He huffed, kept climbing. Her keys were buried at the bottom of her bag. She dug past the finger paintings, the library books, a pack of tissues that had come open and scattered everywhere. Finally found them. The lock stuck, she jiggled it, same every day. Someday it'd break completely, and she'd have to pay a locksmith she couldn't afford. The apartment was exactly how she'd left it that morning. Dishes in the sink from yesterday because she'd been too tired to wash them. Finn's toys scattered across the living room floor, her laptop open on the kitchen table with 15 tabs she hadn't closed. Small, cluttered, but it was theirs. The late afternoon sun came through the window at an angle, hitting the dust particles in the air. She needed to vacuum, needed to do a lot of things. The pile of laundry on the couch had been there since Monday. The bathroom sink had a slow leak she kept meaning to tell the super about. The refrigerator made a clicking sound that probably wasn't normal. Finn dropped his backpack by the door. She'd told him 1,000 times to hang it up, and headed straight for the Lego bin in the corner. Within seconds he was on the floor, building something, already talking to himself in that stream of consciousness way kids did. She stood in the doorway for a second, bag still on her shoulder, keys in her hand. Her cardigan was twisted again. She didn't fix it this time. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it from her pocket. Unknown number, Manhattan area code. Her thumb hovered over the screen. She didn't answer. Set the phone face down on the counter. The radiator clanked. It always did when the heat kicked on. Outside, someone honked. A long, angry blast. Then another. Then silence. She set her bag down on the kitchen chair, the one with the wobbly leg she kept meaning to fix. Locked the door. The deadbolt stuck halfway. She forced it. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She went to the sink, turned on the water, let it run cold over her wrists. An old trick someone had taught her once, back when panic attacks were something she dealt with regularly. The water was freezing. She kept her hands there anyway. Finn's voice drifted from the living room. "Mom, can you help me find the blue piece?" "In a minute." She turned off the water, dried her hands on the dish towel hanging from the oven handle. It smelled like mildew. She'd meant to wash it. Through the window she could see the building across the street. Somebody's TV was on, the light flickering blue in the darkness. A woman walked past on the sidewalk below, talking on her phone, laughing at something. The bodega on the corner had its lights on. Open late, always open late, 4 years. She'd gone 4 years without seeing him. 4 years of building a life that worked, that felt stable, that felt like enough. 4 years of convincing herself she'd made the right choice by not chasing him down, by not demanding more than he was willing to give. 4 years of being fine, and now... Her phone buzzed again, same unknown number. She stared at it. The screen went dark, then lit up again. Persistent. Finn appeared in the doorway, holding a Lego tower that was already half falling apart. "Look what I made." "That's great, bud." "Are you okay?" She smiled, the kind of smile she'd perfected over the years, the one that said everything's fine even when it wasn't. "I'm good. You hungry?" "Kinda." "Mac and cheese." "With hot dogs?" "With hot dogs." He grinned, ran back to his Legos. She opened the cabinet, pulled out the box of mac and cheese, store brand, the cheap stuff. Finn didn't know the difference yet. Someday he would. Her phone buzzed a third time. She didn't look. The pot she grabbed from the dish rack still had water in it from this morning. She dumped it in the sink, filled it again. The faucet sputtered, needed a new washer. She turned on the burner. Blue flame, the click, click, click of the ignition. Outside, the traffic light changed. Red to green. A car alarm went off somewhere. Stopped. Started again. Her phone went dark. Stayed dark. Stephen stood on the sidewalk long after they'd disappeared around the corner. His driver was still waiting by the car, engine idling, probably wondering what the hell was taking so long. A meeting in Midtown. 20 minutes. He should have been in the car 5 minutes ago. He couldn't move. The kid, Jesus. The kid was huge. Not a baby anymore. A person. Walking. Talking. Laughing at something his mother said. 4 years old. Stephen knew that, obviously. He'd done the math 100 times. But knowing something and seeing it, those were different things. His hands felt cold. He shoved them in his pockets. Realized he was still standing in the middle of the sidewalk. A woman with a stroller had to go around him. She gave him a look. He didn't care. The car door was still open. His driver cleared his throat. "Mr. Corbin?" "Yeah." His voice came out rough. "Give me a minute." "The meeting's at 4:30. I know what time the meeting is." The driver nodded, went quiet. Stephen pulled out his phone, stared at it. He had Hillary's number. Somewhere, probably buried in old contacts he hadn't looked at in years. They'd texted exactly 3 times after Finn was born. Short messages. Updates he'd asked for and then not known what to do with. Pictures he'd looked at once and then archived, because seeing them made something in his chest feel too tight. He opened his contacts, scrolled, found her name. The number was still there. His thumb hovered over it. He didn't call. Put the phone back in his pocket. "Let's go," he said. The driver looked relieved. Stephen got in the back seat. The leather was warm. The AC was on too high. Classical music played softly from the speakers, something his assistant had programmed into the car's system because she thought it made him seem more refined during client calls. He'd never bothered to change it. Traffic on Amsterdam was hell. Construction. Always construction. They sat at the same light for 3 cycles. He watched people cross. A guy with headphones, 2 teenagers sharing a vape, an old woman with a shopping cart. None of them his son. Obviously. His son was 6 blocks away now. Maybe 7. Probably home. Probably doing whatever 4-year-olds did after school. He had no idea what 4-year-olds did after school. The meeting was in a glass tower near Bryant Park, 42nd floor. Conference room with a view that cost more per square foot than most people's apartments. 6 executives from a firm in Munich. They wanted to talk about acquisition terms. His CFO had prepped him for 2 hours yesterday. He'd read every document, knew every number. He walked in 12 minutes late. Didn't apologize. "Gentlemen." He shook hands, sat down. His assistant passed him a folder. He opened it without looking at the contents. The lead executive, Klaus something, late 50s, expensive suit, launched into his pitch. Market projections, synergy opportunities, growth potential. All the words that usually mattered. Stephen nodded at the right times, said, "Interesting," twice. Asked one question about quarterly targets that his CFO could have answered better. His mind was 6 blocks uptown. Hillary had looked tired. That was the word. Not bad. She'd never looked bad. But tired in a way that wasn't just physical. The kind of tired that came from carrying something heavy for a long time without anywhere to set it down. Her hair was different, shorter, still blonde but darker at the roots. She'd been wearing jeans and a cardigan with a stretched-out collar, a canvas bag that looked like it weighed as much as she did. And the kid. Finn. His name was Finn. Stephen had picked it, actually, years ago, before things fell apart. Before he'd decided that 18-hour workdays in London were more important than coming home for a birth he'd known about for 8 months. "Mr. Corbin?" He looked up. Klaus was staring at him. They all were. "Sorry. What was the question?" "Your timeline for due diligence." 2 weeks. He had no idea if that was the right answer. "My team will send over the details." His CFO jumped in. Started talking about audit schedules and documentation requirements. Stephen let him. He was good at this part, better than Stephen, honestly. Stephen had built the company, but lately he'd been realizing he wasn't sure why, what the point was, who it was for. The meeting ended at 6. They shook hands again, exchanged business cards nobody would use because everything was email now anyway. Klaus said something about dinner next time he was in New York. Stephen said absolutely and meant probably not. Back in the car. The driver knew without asking that Stephen wasn't ready to go back to the hotel yet. Where to? Just drive. They headed north, up Madison. The sun was starting to set, that October light that turned everything gold for about 15 minutes before it got dark. He watched the buildings slide past, storefronts, restaurants, people on their phones, people holding hands, people alone. At 79th, the driver turned west without being told. They crossed the park. The trees were thick here. You could almost forget you were in the city. Almost. When they hit the west side, he sat up straighter, scanned the streets, looking for what he didn't know. Blonde hair, a kid in a blue jacket, a canvas bag. Ridiculous. The city had 8 million people. "Pull over," he said. They were on West 83rd, 2 blocks from where he'd seen them earlier. The driver pulled to the curb. Stephen got out, stood there. The street was quieter than Amsterdam. Residential, trees on both sides, brownstones with stoops, a couple walking a dog, lights on in apartment windows. He walked, no destination, just walked, past a bodega, a dry cleaner, a wine bar with outdoor seating where people sat bundled in jackets, even though it wasn't that cold. They looked happy, or at least they looked like they weren't thinking about anything heavier than what to order. He stopped in front of a playground, small, tucked between 2 buildings, swings, slide. One of those spinning things kids loved. A few parents were there with their kids. Late enough that it was emptying out. Dinner time. A little girl went down the slide. Her dad caught her at the bottom. She shrieked, laughing. He picked her up, swung her around, set her down. She ran to go again. Stephen watched for longer than he should have. His phone buzzed. Text from his assistant. 3 new messages. 2 missed calls. Something about tomorrow's schedule. He didn't read them. He tried Hillary's number. His hands were shaking. Annoying. He hadn't felt nervous in years. Nervousness was for people who weren't sure. He was always sure. Except now. The phone rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Voicemail, her voice. Short message. "This is Hillary, leave a message." He didn't. Hung up. Tried again. Same result. He typed out a text, deleted it, typed another one. We should talk. Deleted that too, typed, I saw you today. Stared at it, deleted it. Finally, it's Stephen, can we talk? Sent it before he could change his mind. The typing indicator appeared. 3 dots. His heart rate picked up, stupid. The dots disappeared, no response. He waited, 5 minutes, 10. The playground was empty now. Just him and the streetlights and the sound of traffic a block over. His phone buzzed. Not a text, a call. Unknown number. He answered. Hello? Silence, then. What do you want? Her voice. Quiet. Careful. He didn't have an answer ready. Should have. He'd had 4 years to think about what he'd say if this moment ever came. Never thought it actually would. He stopped. Started again. I saw him. Today. I saw Finn. More silence. Hillary? I know. We saw you too. He's big. Kids grow. He deserved that. I know, I just meant... What do you want, Stephen? Good question. He looked at the empty playground, the swings moving slightly in the breeze. I don't know, he said. Honest. Maybe the first honest thing he'd said in months. I don't know, I need to see him. Properly, not just on a street corner. Why now? What? Why now? It's been 4 years. You could have called, could have visited, could have done literally anything. Why now? He didn't have a good answer for that either. Because he saw them? Because the kid looked like him? Because he was 45 years old and suddenly realizing that maybe money and titles and corner offices weren't actually the things that mattered? I want to try, he said. To be, I don't know, present. I want to try. The line went quiet again. He thought maybe she'd hung up. Then, I need to think about it. Okay. This isn't about you, you get that, right? This is about him, about what's best for him. I know. I'm not sure you do. Fair. I'll call you, she said. Don't call me again. Don't show up places. I'll call you when I've decided. When? I don't know when. Could be a week, could be a month, could be never. The line went dead. He stood there with the phone pressed to his ear even though she was gone. The breeze picked up. Somewhere a siren wailed. The playground swings creaked. His driver was still waiting at the curb. Stephen walked back. Got in the car. Hotel? The driver asked. Yeah. They drove in silence. The city lights blurred past. His phone sat in his hand. Screen dark. He didn't put it away. Hillary didn't sleep that night. She tried. Went through all the motions, dishes, laundry, got Finn into pajamas, read him 2 books about trucks, even though he'd memorized them both months ago. Tucked him in. Kissed his forehead. Left the hallway light on because he didn't like the dark. Then she sat on the couch with her laptop open, pretending to grade papers. The cursor blinked. She hadn't typed a single word in 40 minutes. Her phone sat face up on the coffee table, screen dark, silent. She kept looking at it anyway. The radiator hissed. The couple upstairs was arguing again, muffled voices through the ceiling, something about whose turn it was to take out the trash. A car alarm went off somewhere down the block, stopped, started again. She closed the laptop, opened it, closed it again. At midnight she gave up, made tea she didn't drink, stood at the kitchen window looking out at the building across the street. Most of the lights were off now. One apartment still had a TV flickering blue. Someone else working late, or couldn't sleep, or both. Stephen's text was still there. It's Stephen. Can we talk? She'd called him from a blocked number. Stupid. Like he wouldn't figure out it was her. But she hadn't wanted him to have her real number. Hadn't wanted to make it easy. The conversation kept replaying. His voice. That same low tone she remembered from before everything fell apart. Before she'd realized that loving someone who loved their work more wasn't sustainable. Before she'd stopped waiting for him to choose her. I want to try. Easy to say. Harder to actually do. She picked up her phone, scrolled through old photos, found one from 4 years ago. Finn at 2 weeks old, tiny, red-faced, wrapped in the blue blanket her mom had sent. She'd taken the photo at 3 a.m. during one of those endless nights when he wouldn't stop crying, and she didn't know what she was doing, and every parenting book she'd read felt useless. Stephen had been in London that week, some deal that couldn't wait. He'd sent flowers to the hospital, expensive ones. The card said, "Congratulations." Not, "I'm sorry I missed it." Not, "I wish I was there." Just, "Congratulations," like she'd graduated or gotten a promotion. She'd thrown the flowers away the next day. Her tea had gone cold. She dumped it in the sink. The drain was slow again. She needed to call the super, add it to the list. Friday morning came too fast. Finn was cranky, didn't want to get dressed, didn't want breakfast, didn't want to go to school. "I'm tired," he said, face down on the couch. "I know, bud. Me too." "Then let's stay home." "Can't. You have school. I have work." "That's not fair." She smiled. Couldn't help it. "Life's not fair, kiddo." "That's what you always say, because it's always true." They made it out the door 20 minutes late. Hillary didn't have time to fix her hair, didn't have time for coffee, grabbed a granola bar she'd eat on the train and called it breakfast. The walk to school was the same as every day, same route, same storefronts, same bodega on the corner, but today she found herself scanning faces, looking for him. Stupid. He was probably back in whatever city he actually lived in now. Probably had meetings, conference calls, all the things that used to matter more than showing up. At school, Finn's teacher caught her at drop-off. "Mrs. Sanders, you have a minute?" Hillary wasn't Mrs. Anything, but she'd stopped correcting people years ago. "Sure. What's up?" "Finn's been a little distracted this week. Is everything okay at home?" "Everything's fine," that's what she should say, what she always said. Instead, "Just some family stuff, nothing major." The teacher nodded. That sympathetic look teachers gave each other when they knew there was more to the story but weren't going to push. "Okay, well, if you need anything, thanks, I appreciate it." She made it to work 15 minutes before first period. Barely. Her classroom was on the 3rd floor of a public school in Washington Heights. 40-minute commute on a good day, over an hour when the trains were screwed. The room still smelled like the art class that used it yesterday. Paint and glue and that specific smell of 25 kids in an enclosed space. She dropped her bag, started writing the day's agenda on the whiteboard. Her marker was almost dead. The replacement she'd requested 3 weeks ago still hadn't shown up. By lunch, she was exhausted. Hadn't eaten, hadn't sat down. 28 third graders asking questions all morning. Math, reading. Why is the sky blue? Can we have extra recess? Is it true you can get superpowers from eating radioactive spiders? She ate a sandwich in the teacher's lounge. Tuna, bread that was a little stale. The coffee was burnt, but she drank it anyway. Her friend Maya sat down across from her. 5th grade teacher. They'd started the same year. Maya was the only person at school who knew about Stephen, about Finn's dad being some finance guy who checked out before the kid could walk. "You look like hell," Maya said. "Thanks. I'm serious. What's going on?" Hillary set down her coffee. The cup was styrofoam, already cracking at the rim. "He called." "Who called?" "Stephen." Maya's eyes went wide. "Wait, Finn's dad Stephen?" "That's Stephen." "When?" "Last night." "And?" "And he wants to see him." "Finn, he saw us on the street Thursday and now suddenly he's interested." Maya leaned back, crossed her arms. "After 4 years. After 4 years. What did you say?" "I told him I'd think about it." "Are you actually thinking about it?" Hillary picked at her sandwich, wasn't hungry anymore. "I don't know. Maybe. He's Finn's dad. That matters, right?" "Does it? He hasn't acted like a dad." "I know." "So what changed?" "That's what I can't figure out." She pushed the sandwich away. He sounded different, on the phone, not like, I don't know, not like he was checking a box. People don't just change, Hill. Maybe they do, sometimes. Or maybe he saw his kid and felt guilty for 5 minutes, and in 2 weeks he'll be back to whatever city he actually lives in. And you'll be left explaining to Finn why his dad disappeared again. Hillary didn't say anything, because Maya was right. Probably. That's how it usually went. People made promises they couldn't keep, said they'd try, meant it in the moment. Then life got in the way. Work got in the way. Distance got in the way. "What does Finn know?" Maya asked. "Nothing. I haven't told him anything." You gonna? Not until I decide what I'm doing. Maya was quiet for a second, then, What do you want to happen? Hillary laughed, short, bitter. I want a time machine. I want to go back 4 years and make different choices. She stopped, started again. I don't know what I want, that's the problem. The bell rang, lunch was over. Maya stood, squeezed Hillary's shoulder. Whatever you decide, I got your back. Thanks. I mean it. You need me to slash his tires or something, just say the word. That got a real laugh. I'll keep that in mind. That night, after Finn was asleep, Hillary pulled out her laptop again. This time, she actually typed something. Pros and cons at the top of the document. Under pros, Finn deserves to know his dad. Stephen seemed genuine on the phone. Maybe people can change, Finn asks about him sometimes. Under cons, Stephen has a track record of leaving. Finn is happy now. Stable. Introducing Stephen could mess that up. What if Stephen disappears again? What if Finn gets attached and then gets hurt? What if I'm making a mistake? She stared at the screen. The cons list was longer, weighted heavier. But the first item on the pros list kept pulling at her. Finn deserves to know his dad. Did he, though? Did he deserve to know someone who might leave? Or was protecting him from that disappointment the better choice? Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. She knew who it was before she opened it. I'm still in New York, staying through next week. No pressure, just wanted you to know. She set the phone down, picked it up, set it down again, typed, I need to think about what's best for him. Sent it before she could change her mind. The response came fast. I understand. Take whatever time you need. She wanted to believe that, wanted to believe he meant it, that he wasn't just saying what she wanted to hear. But wanting something and trusting it were different things. She closed the laptop, turned off the lights, stood in the hallway outside Finn's room. The door was cracked open. She could hear his breathing, steady, even, peaceful in that way only kids could be. He had no idea his whole life might be about to change, or maybe it wouldn't change at all. Maybe she'd say no, keep things the way they were, safe, predictable, just the two of them like it had been from the start. She pulled the door closed. Not all the way, just enough. The apartment was quiet now. Even the couple upstairs had stopped fighting. Even the street outside was calm. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the radiator getting ready to kick on again. Her phone sat on the kitchen counter, screen dark. She left it there, went to bed, didn't sleep. Hillary texted him Tuesday morning, short message, no preamble. Saturday, 2 p.m., Riverside Park. The playground near 83rd. Stephen read it 3 times, typed thank you and deleted it. Typed I'll be there and deleted that too. Finally settled on I'll be there. Her response came an hour later. Don't be late. He wasn't late. He was 40 minutes early. The playground was bigger than he'd expected. Swings, climbing structure. One of those bouncy things shaped like a dragon. A water fountain that probably didn't work. Benches arranged in a semicircle facing the equipment. Most of them were full. Parents, nannies. One guy who looked like a grad student pretending to read while his kid destroyed a sandcastle someone else had built. Stephen sat on an empty bench at the edge. Checked his phone. 1:23. 37 minutes. He'd cancelled 2 meetings to be here. His assistant had asked if everything was okay. He'd said yes without explaining. Let her think whatever she wanted. Client emergency, personal issue. Didn't matter. A kid fell off the monkey bars, started crying. His mum ran over, checked his hands, kissed his forehead. The crying stopped almost immediately. Kid ran back to play. Stephen watched, tried to imagine doing that, being the person someone ran to when they got hurt. Couldn't picture it. His hands were sweating, he wiped them on his jeans. He'd worn jeans and a sweater. Left the suit at the hotel. Hillary had seen him in a suit Thursday, probably associated suits with every other time he'd chosen work over showing up. So, jeans. Like a normal person at a park on Saturday. Except he didn't feel normal. He felt like an imposter, like someone playing a role they hadn't rehearsed. 1:47. A woman sat down on the bench next to him. Older, grey hair. She had a coffee from the cart by the entrance. The smell made his stomach turn. He hadn't eaten breakfast, hadn't been hungry, still wasn't. "You're first?" she asked. "What?" "Your kid. First one." He looked at her, tried to figure out how she knew, then realized he was sitting alone at a playground, checking his phone every 30 seconds, looking like he might throw up. Pretty obvious. "Yeah," he said. "First." "How old?" "4." She smiled. "Good age. Still think you hung the moon. Gets harder after that." He nodded. Didn't know what to say. "Relax," she said. "Kids can smell fear." She got up, walked over to a little boy on the swings, gave him a push. The kid laughed. Stephen checked his phone again. 1:54. Then he saw them. Hillary came from the south entrance, Finn next to her holding her hand. The kid was wearing a red jacket, blue sneakers, talking about something. Stephen was too far away to hear what. His chest tightened. Hillary spotted him, said something to Finn. The kid looked over, kept walking, but his grip on her hand changed. Stephen could see it from across the playground, the way his fingers squeezed tighter. They reached the bench. Hillary's face was unreadable. Finn half hid behind her leg. "Hi," Stephen said. His voice came out rougher than he meant. "Hi." Hillary looked at Finn. This is Stephen." Finn stared up at him. Big eyes, light brown. Same as Stephen's. Same nose, too. The resemblance hit him harder than it had Thursday. This wasn't a kid he'd seen on a street corner. This was his kid, standing 3 feet away. Real. "Hi, Finn." Finn didn't say anything, pressed closer to Hillary. "It's okay," she said softly. "You don't have to say hi if you don't want to." Stephen's hands felt useless. He shoved them in his pockets. "You like playgrounds?" Stupid question. Of course he liked playgrounds. He was 4. Finn nodded. Still didn't speak. "What's your favorite part?" Finn pointed at the swings. "Yeah, I used to like swings too when I was a kid." Nothing. Finn looked up at Hillary. She gave him a small smile. "You want to go play?" He nodded. "Okay, I'll be right here." Finn took off toward the swings, ran without looking back. Stephen watched him go, felt something crack in his chest. Hillary sat down on the bench, left space between them. Not much, but enough. "That went well," Stephen said. "He's nervous." "I know. He doesn't know who you are. Not really. I told him you were. Someone I used to know, someone who wanted to meet him." "What else did you tell him?" She looked at him. "Nothing. Because I don't know what else to say. I don't know what you want from this." Fair question. He'd been asking himself the same thing all week. "I don't want to mess up his life," Stephen said. "I know I already did. 4 years ago. I know that. But I want to try to fix it. If I can." "You can't fix 4 years." "I know." Across the playground, Finn was on the swings, pumping his legs, not going very high yet, still learning. "He asks about you sometimes," Hillary said. "Not a lot, but sometimes. I never knew what to tell him." Stephen didn't know what to say to that. "I need to know you're serious," she continued, "about this, about him, because if you're not, if this is just guilt or some midlife crisis or whatever, I need to know now before he gets attached." "I'm serious. You said that before, 4 years ago. You were serious then too. And then you left." He turned to face her. "I was wrong. I was so fucking wrong. I thought work mattered more. I thought building something mattered more. I thought I could do it later, be a dad later, when things were more settled. And now? Now I realize there is no later. It's just now, and I missed it. I missed everything." Hillary's eyes were wet. She blinked it away. "One visit doesn't fix that." "I know. He needs consistency, not someone who shows up once and disappears." "I'm not disappearing." "You live in—" She stopped. "Where do you even live now?" "London, mostly, but I can change that. I'm already changing that." She laughed, short, bitter. "You're going to move here? To New York? For him?" "If that's what it takes." "You don't even know him." "Then let me, please." The please did something. He could see it in her face. The wall didn't come down completely, but it cracked. She looked back at Finn. He'd abandoned the swings. Was climbing now. careful, deliberate. A woman nearby, another mom probably, was watching him, making sure he didn't fall. "Okay," Hillary said quietly. "Okay. You can see him. Not alone. Not yet. And not at my place. We meet here, or somewhere public. And if at any point I think this is hurting him more than helping, we stop. Immediately." "Okay. I mean it, Stephen. I know, I agree. Whatever you need." She stood up. "I'm going to go check on him. You can. You can come if you want." He followed her across the playground. His legs felt unsteady, like he'd forgotten how to walk. Finn was at the top of the climbing structure now, sitting on the platform, feet dangling. He saw them coming, watched Stephen with that same careful look. "You made it all the way up," Hillary said. "It's not that high," Finn said. "Still counts." Finn looked at Stephen. "Can you climb it?" Stephen looked at the structure, meant for kids. He'd probably break it if he tried. "I think I'm too big." "That's sad." "Yeah, it is." Finn considered this, then. "You can go down the slide, though. That's not just for kids." "You think?" "Yeah. Miss Garcia did it once, at school, and she's a grown-up." Stephen looked at Hillary. She had this expression, somewhere between surprised and trying not to smile. "Okay," Stephen said. "Show me." Finn scrambled down, ran to the slide, pointed. "You go down that one, it's faster." There were two slides, one small, one bigger. The bigger one was probably 30 feet long. Spiral, metal. Currently occupied by 3 kids who looked like they had no intention of moving. "Maybe the other one," Stephen said. "No, that one's for babies." "I'm kind of a baby when it comes to slides." Finn giggled. Small sound, but real. "You're not a baby." "How do you know?" "Because babies can't talk." "Fair point." The bigger slide cleared. Finn looked at him expectantly. Stephen looked at Hillary. She shrugged, enjoying this way too much. He climbed the ladder, metal rungs. His knees protested. At the top he folded himself into the slide entrance, barely fit, pushed off, went down fast, faster than expected. His sweater rode up. The metal was cold. He hit the bottom harder than he meant to, stumbled, caught himself, turned around. Finn was laughing. Full-on belly laugh. Hands on his knees. Stephen felt his face get hot. But he was smiling too. Couldn't help it. "Again," Finn said. "I think once is enough." "Please." Stephen looked at Hillary. She was smiling now. Really smiling. First time he'd seen it since Thursday. "Okay," he said, "one more time." He went down 3 more times. By the third, other kids were watching, cheering him on. Finn stood at the bottom each time, announcing his arrival like a sports commentator. When Stephen finally called it quits, his jeans were dusty and his back hurt, and he couldn't remember the last time he'd done something this stupid. Finn walked over, stood in front of him, that careful look again, but softer now. "You're tall," Finn said. "Yeah. Really tall." "I know." Finn reached out, slow, touched Stephen's arm, just his fingertips, like he was checking if he was real. Stephen went very still. Finn's hand stayed there for a second, 2, then dropped. "You're not that scary," Finn said. Stephen's throat tightened. "No? No, you just looked scary, but you're not." "That's good." "Yeah." They stood there. Hillary watched from the bench. She had her hand over her mouth, eyes bright. Stephen crouched down, eye level with Finn now. "Can I tell you something?" Finn nodded. "I'm really glad I got to meet you properly." Finn thought about this. "Do you have to go away again?" The question hit like a punch. "Not if I can help it." "Mom says people go away sometimes, even when they don't want to." "Yeah, sometimes that's true." "Are you gonna?" Stephen's eyes were wet now. He didn't try to hide it. "I'm gonna try really hard not to." Finn studied his face. 4 years old and already too good at reading people. Finally. "Okay." "Okay." Finn pointed back at the slide. "You want a race?" Stephen laughed, surprised. "You'd destroy me." "I know." They raced. Finn won by a mile. Didn't even gloat. Just ran back to do it again. When they left an hour later, Finn waved goodbye. Small wave, still shy, but it was something. Stephen stood in the playground long after they were gone. The sun was setting, shadows stretched across the equipment, other families packing up, heading home. His phone buzzed. Text from Hillary. "Same time next week?" He typed back immediately. "Yes." She sent one more message. "He liked you." Stephen sat down on the bench, put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook. Nobody bothered him. 3 weeks became a month became 2. Stephen showed up every Saturday. The 3rd week, Finn asked if Stephen could push him on the swings. The 5th week, he asked about sandcastles. The 7th week, he asked when Stephen was coming back. That's when Hillary knew. Finn was attached. She texted Stephen on a Wednesday. "Can we talk?" Not at the park. They met at a coffee shop in the West Village. Stephen was already there. Black coffee. "He talks about you," Hillary said. "At school. His teacher asked if you were a new uncle." "What did you tell her?" "That you're his dad." Stephen looked up. "You told her?" "I had to. I talked to my board," Stephen said. "Told them I'm stepping back. It's going to take months to transition properly, but I'm starting now. Signed a lease in Lincoln Square. I'm not going back to London." "You're serious?" "I'm here, for as long as you'll let me be." She studied his face. "Okay, you can tell him this Saturday." "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Showing up is easy, it's everything after that's hard." "I'm in, not halfway." "Then prove it." Saturday came, cold for November. Finn insisted on the playground. At the park, Stephen pulled a football from his bag. They practiced. Finn dropped it 3 times. "It's stupid," Finn said. "You're 4. You're supposed to be bad at it." Eventually, Finn got cold, headed back to the bench. "Finn," Stephen said, "I'm staying. For real. I live here now." Finn looked at Hillary. "Is that okay?" "It's okay," she said. Finn turned back to Stephen. "We're doing a thing at school next Friday. Everyone's bringing their parents. We made turkeys." Stephen felt his chest tighten. "You want me to come?" "Yeah, 2 o'clock. "I'll be there." Finn's face lit up. "Promise?" Stephen crouched down. Eye level. "I promise." Thursday night, Stephen's phone rang at 11:47 p.m. Richard Pembroke, his CFO in London. "We have a problem," Richard said. "The Schneider acquisition. They're pulling out. Want to renegotiate from scratch or walk." Stephen sat up. "What happened?" "Their board got cold feet. New projections came in lower than expected. They want you here, tomorrow, in person. They won't take a call. They specifically asked for you." Stephen looked at his clock. "Tomorrow's Friday." "I know. I have something—" He stopped. "Can it wait until Monday?" "If we don't respond by Friday, end of business. They're walking. 18 months of work. 200 million in projected revenue." "I know what it is." "What's more important than this?" Stephen looked at his calendar. Friday, 2 p.m., Finn's school thing. The first real promise he'd made to his son. "Nothing," Stephen said. His voice came out flat. "Book me on the first flight out." He hung up, sat there in the dark. At 6 a.m. he texted Hillary. "Can you call me when you're up?" She called at 6:43. "What's wrong?" "I need to go to London today, emergency with the Frankfurt deal." Silence. "When's your flight?" 10 a.m. "And Finn's thing is at 2. "I know." More silence. He could hear her breathing, controlled, measured. The sound of someone trying very hard not to scream. "You promised him," she said finally. "I know." You looked him in the eye and promised. "Hillary, I don't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. You're choosing work. Again." "This isn't fair." "Fair?" Her voice cracked. "You know what's not fair? Finn asking me every single day this week if you're really coming. Me telling him yes, me believing you, me letting him believe you. I'll make it up to him." "How?" "By promising something else you won't keep." "That's not how this works, Stephen." He heard her breathing change, faster, shakier. "I knew this would happen," she said. "I knew it. Everyone told me. But I thought maybe you actually changed." "That's not fair." "Then don't go." "I can't." "Yes, you can. You're choosing not to. There's a difference." "Hillary, I have to go." I need to figure out what to tell our son when he asks me why his dad isn't coming. Again. The line went dead. Stephen sat on the edge of his bed. 6:51 a.m. His flight was in 3 hours. He got on the plane. The meeting went exactly as expected. Stephen fixed the problem, saved the deal. Flew back that night on the red-eye, landed at JFK Saturday morning at 6 a.m. His phone had 17 missed calls, 3 voicemails. He listened to the first one in the cab. Finn's voice. Small, confused. "Hi, Stephen. We did the turkey thing. You weren't there. Mum said you had to work. Are you coming back?" The second one. Same day. Later. "It's me again. I saved you a turkey. I made it extra good." The third one. Hillary. Her voice cold. Empty. "Don't call. Don't text. Don't show up at the park tomorrow. I need time to figure out if this is even worth trying to fix." The cab dropped him at his building. He went upstairs. The apartment was exactly how he'd left it, the second bedroom with Finn's drawings still on the wall. He sat on the floor back against the bed, looked at the drawings. One had his name on it. Stick figures. 3 of them. Labels. Me. Mom. Stephen. He pulled out his phone, started typing, deleted it, tried again. Nothing he wrote was enough. Sunday morning. Stephen stood outside Hillary's building at 7 a.m. He'd been there since 6. Hadn't slept. Couldn't. He texted, "I'm outside. Please. 5 minutes." No response. He waited. At 7:43, the door opened. Hillary. She looked exhausted, eyes red, hair pulled back. Same clothes as yesterday, probably. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "I know. I told you I needed time. I know, but I need you to hear this. Please." She crossed her arms, didn't come down the steps, stayed in the doorway, distance between them. "I fucked up," Stephen said. "I know that doesn't fix anything. I know sorry doesn't mean anything when I've said it before. But I need you to know, I sat in that meeting. In London. And the whole time all I could think about was Finn. Waiting for me. Looking for me in that cafeteria." Hillary's jaw tightened. "And yet you stayed." "I did. Because I'm a coward. Because for 18 years I've measured my worth by closing deals, by being the guy who shows up and fixes things. And in that moment, when Richard asked me what was more important, I couldn't say it. I couldn't say my son, because I didn't believe it yet. And now? Now I know. I know because I sat on that plane for 7 hours, and all I could think about was his voice on that voicemail. "Are you coming back?" Like he already knew the answer, like he'd been waiting his whole life for me to prove him right. Hillary's eyes were wet. She blinked it away. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," Stephen continued. "I'm asking you to let me prove it, not with words, with time, with showing up, every day, every week, every single time it matters. And when the next emergency comes, the next deal, then I let it go. I let the company go. I let all of it go, because none of it matters if I lose him. If I lose the chance to be his dad." She looked at him, really looked, searching for something. Truth, commitment, proof that this time was different. "He cried," she said quietly. "Yesterday, when you didn't show. He didn't understand why you'd promise and then not come. I had to tell him you had important work, and you know what he said?" Stephen shook his head. "He said, 'I thought I was important too.'" That broke him. Stephen's face crumpled. He put his hand over his mouth, shoulders shaking. "I can't let you hurt him again," Hillary said. "I won't. I know. So what do I tell him? That you're sorry? That it won't happen again? No. Tell him I fucked up. Tell him I made a choice and it was the wrong one. And tell him if he'll give me another chance, I'll spend the rest of my life proving I can do better." Hillary wiped her eyes. "I need to think about it." "Okay. I'm serious, Stephen. This isn't a negotiation. This is me protecting my kid." "I know, take whatever time you need." She turned to go back inside, stopped, looked back. The turkey's in his backpack. He really did make it extra good. The door closed. Stephen stood there for a long time. The street was waking up, people heading to work, to the bodega, to wherever Sunday morning took them. His phone buzzed. Text from Hillary. Wednesday 4 p.m. the park, don't be late. He typed back immediately, I'll be there. Then, thank you. 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Then, don't thank me. Thank him. If he forgives you. 2 years later. The apartment on Lincoln Square had become more than just a place Stephen lived. It had become a home. The second bedroom wasn't empty anymore. Finn's drawings covered one wall, taped up haphazardly, some crooked, some overlapping. A bookshelf held chapter books he was just starting to read on his own. A bin of Legos sat in the corner, perpetually spilling onto the floor. The bed had dinosaur sheets Finn had picked out himself. He stayed over every other weekend now, sometimes Wednesdays too, if Hillary had parent-teacher conferences or needed a break. At first, those overnights had been hard. Finn would get homesick around bedtime, call his mom 3 times, need the hallway light on and the door cracked open, and a glass of water and one more story. Stephen had learned, adjusted, figured it out the way you figured out anything important, by showing up and trying and failing and trying again. Now Finn kept a toothbrush in Stephen's bathroom, knew which cabinet had the cereal, had opinions about whether they should order pizza or make pasta, had stopped asking when he was going home and started saying things like, when I'm at your place or next time I'm here. Small things. But they mattered. It was a Saturday in October, the kind of fall day that made you remember why people loved New York. Cool but not cold, leaves turning gold and red, light that made everything look sharper somehow. They were at the park, the same one where they'd met 2 years ago. Finn had grown, taller, louder, more confident. He'd made friends with 2 other kids who came regularly, a girl named Sadie and her little brother, whose name Stephen could never remember, but who followed Finn around like a puppy. Hillary sat on the bench, their bench, reading, actually reading this time, not just pretending. A novel she'd been trying to finish for 3 months. Stephen sat next to her, not too close, they'd learned that distance, the space that let them be parents together without making it complicated. It was complicated anyway, but they'd figured out how to navigate it. He's good with other kids, Stephen said. Hillary looked up, watched Finn help the little boy climb onto the platform. He is. He gets that from his teachers, not from me. I was shy as hell when I was little. Really? Really. Didn't talk to anyone, just read books in the corner. What changed? She smiled. I had to. When you're a single parent, you don't get to be shy. You have to talk to teachers and doctors and the super who never fixes anything. You have to advocate. So I learned. Stephen nodded. They'd had versions of this conversation before. Small pieces of her history revealed gradually. He never pushed, just listened when she chose to share. He asked me something yesterday, Hillary said, when I was tucking him in. What? He asked if you were going to be at his birthday party. Not like casually, like he was worried you might not show. I'll be there. I already told him I'd be there. I know, but he still asked, I think... She paused, chose her words carefully. I think he's still waiting for you to leave, not consciously, but somewhere in there, he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Stephen felt that like a physical weight. 2 years. 2 years of showing up, and still. What did you tell him? I told him you'd be there, that you always show up when you say you will, that he doesn't have to worry. Do you believe that? She looked at him. Yeah, I do. It was the first time she'd said it without hesitation, without that small pause that meant she was still checking, still making sure. Thank you, he said quietly. You earned it. Across the playground, Finn was attempting the monkey bars, made it 3 rungs before dropping. Tried again, made it 4. Stephen had watched this progression over months, how Finn kept trying things until he got them, didn't give up. Got that from Hillary too, probably. That stubbornness, that refusal to quit. I've been thinking, Stephen said, about next month. Thanksgiving. What about it? I usually do this thing, with my team, former team, the people who still work at the company. We'd do this dinner, very corporate, very boring. Okay, I'm not doing it this year. You don't have to tell me your schedule. I know, I wanted you to know I'm around. If you guys are doing something. I don't want to intrude, but if there's space, I'd like to be there. Hillary closed her book, set it down. We usually go to my mom's. In Connecticut. It's a whole thing, lots of relatives, lots of questions, lots of my aunt asking when I'm going to start dating again. Sounds fun. It's not. I'd still like to come, if that's okay. She studied him. You want to meet my mother? I want to be where Finn is. If your mother comes with that, then yeah. She's going to have opinions about you, about the whole situation. I can handle opinions. She's not subtle. I didn't think she would be. Hillary smiled. Small, but real. Okay, you can come. But you're driving, and you're bringing wine. Good wine, not the stuff from the bodega. Deal. Finn ran over, breathing hard, face red from exertion. Did you see? I made it to the middle. I saw, Stephen said. You're getting good. Next week I'm going to make it all the way across. I believe you. Finn looked at Hillary. Can we get hot chocolate from the cart? It's not even cold yet, but I want it. You always want it. Please, she sighed, pulled out her wallet, handed him $5. Get one for all of us and bring back the change. Finn took off running. Stephen called after him. Watch for cars. I know, Finn's voice floated back. They watched him go, 6 years old now. More independent every day. Still needed them, but differently than before. He's going to be taller than me by middle school, Hillary said. Probably. And then I'll be the short parent and you'll be the tall one, and he's going to go to you for everything because you're cooler. I'm not cooler. You let him eat ice cream before dinner. Once, and he threw up. Still counts. Stephen laughed. She was smiling. They sat there in comfortable silence, watching Finn at the cart, counting out bills, the vendor saying something that made him laugh. Thank you, Hillary said suddenly. For what? For not giving up 2 years ago, when I told you I needed time. You could have walked away. Gone back to London. Decided it was too hard, but you didn't. I couldn't after I saw him, after that day on the street. I couldn't just walk away. I'd already done that once. Couldn't do it again. A lot of people would have. I'm not a lot of people. No, you're not. Finn came back with 3 hot chocolates, handed them out carefully, spilled a little on his jacket, didn't notice. Climbed up between them on the bench. They sat like that, the 3 of them, drinking overpriced hot chocolate that wasn't even that good, watching the playground empty as other families headed home, the sun dropping lower, the air getting cooler. Finn leaned against Stephen's shoulder, heavy, trusting. Stephen stayed very still, like if he moved, the moment might break. Hillary caught his eye. Mouthed, okay? He nodded. More than okay. Later, after they'd walked Hillary and Finn home, after Stephen had said goodbye on the stoop of their building, after Finn had hugged him and made him promise to come to his soccer game next week, Stephen walked back toward his apartment. The city was alive around him, people everywhere, restaurants full, street performers on corners, someone selling books from a table, a couple arguing in front of a Duane Reade. Life, all of it, messy and loud and real. His phone buzzed, text from Finn's number, but Hillary's words. He wanted me to tell you, thank you for the hot chocolate. Stephen smiled, typed back, anytime. 3 dots appeared. Then, see you Wednesday. He has a project due Thursday, needs help with the poster board. I'll bring supplies. Thank you. He put his phone away, kept walking. The streetlights were coming on, one by one, illuminating the sidewalk ahead. 2 years ago, he'd stood on a different sidewalk, watching a woman and a child walk away from him, feeling like he'd missed everything that mattered. He hadn't missed it, not all of it. There was still time, still moments to show up for. Still Saturday mornings and Wednesday projects and soccer games and birthday parties and Thanksgivings with relatives who'd have questions. Still a chance to be the person Finn called when something good happened or when something bad did. Still a chance to be someone Hillary trusted, not just with their son, but with the life they were building around him. It wasn't the life Stephen had planned. Wasn't the one he'd been living 2 years ago. Was better, different, harder, better. He unlocked his apartment. The silence inside wasn't empty anymore. It was just quiet. The kind of quiet that came before noise. Before Finn arrived for the weekend with his backpack and his stories and his endless questions. Stephen hung up his jacket, made coffee he didn't drink, sat on the couch. His phone sat on the table, screen dark, silent. He didn't pick it up, just sat there, waiting for Wednesday. Final message. Sometimes the most important journeys don't take you to new places. They bring you back to the ones you left behind. Not to relive what was lost, but to build something new from what remains, because love isn't about perfect timing or being ready. It's about choosing to show up, even when you're 2 years too late, even when you don't know what you're doing, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The most profound transformations don't happen in dramatic moments. They happen in hot chocolate on park benches, in homework help on Wednesday nights, in promises kept week after week after week, in children who slowly learn that "I'll be there" actually means something. What moment in this story resonated most with you? Have you ever had someone show up for you when you didn't expect it, or been the one who finally showed up when it mattered? Your participation means a lot to the channel. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever given someone a second chance they didn't deserve, or been the one asking for it? Drop a like if this story hit different, and subscribe for more real stories that don't sugarcoat life.